All right, how's everybody doing? So I picked up about half a dozen boxes of Fomapan 200, frankly, just out of curiosity. I've been shooting Foma 100 for years and years and years. Absolutely love it. I've shot Foma 400 off and on, kind of a mixed relationship with that. I did a prior video on my thoughts and opinions of Fomapan 400. Suffice to say, it has its uses, and I'm sure I will shoot it again. But I'd never touched the 200 speed film, and I just out of curiosity, I picked some up and said, well, let's figure out why is it here? What does it do? And after shooting and developing and scanning 6 rolls of this stuff, I'm still not sure that I have an answer to that question. So the developers I use are Microfin, Perceptol, and Rodinol, and on the Fomapan recommends, well, of all those, it only recommends Microfin. But there is, of course, the massive development chart, which is what I consulted in order to get my developing times to experiment with. So the first, actually, I think the first 3 rolls I shot at box speed in Rodinol at a dilution of 1 to 49 for 8 minutes at 20 degrees Celsius. And those negatives came back a little thin, and here they are. So this, I'm going to say that's looks a little on the thin side. This one definitely came out on the thin side. Here's some ducks. I shot some ducks at the park. But those negatives are definitely on the thin side, and this one was a little better. This one came back a little better. Although I was shooting at the beach, which white sand on a sunny day, it's kind of hard to underexpose that. So yeah, that's that. So those first 3 rolls, I thought were a little underexposed, or maybe underdeveloped, and so the next time I switched to Microfin, and I shot 1 roll at box speed in Microfin at 12.5 minutes at 20 degrees Celsius. Now, Microfin is recommended by Foma, but in the box and also on the website, they only give development times for stock. They don't give development times for 1 to 3 dilution. I prefer developing Microfin and Perceptol at 1 to 3 dilutions, just so I don't use it up too fast. I mean, it's just a purely practical consideration. I mean, the stock solution is, I mean, if you have to use stock solution, that's a lot of developer for a small amount of film, in my opinion. I mean, now sometimes if you're pushing something with Microfin, like if I'm pushing HP5 to 1600, you have to use stock. But for general purpose development, I prefer not to use stock. So I got this development time off of the massive development chart. Box speed Microfin 1 to 3, 12.5 minutes at 20 degrees Celsius, and that's right here. And again, I just thought these came out a little on the thin side. They were okay, they're manageable. Of all I mean, I shot 6 rolls of film, and I've got over 70 images on my Flickr album, which I'll link to down below. So that's 70 images from 6 rolls of film that I am not ashamed to display publicly. No great masterpieces there, but they meet the minimum standard for not ashamed to show in public and put my name on them. So that's not that's not bad. That ain't bad. It still seemed a little thin. So the next 2 rolls I developed at exposure index of 160 in Microfin 1 to 3 for 13 minutes at 20 degrees Celsius. So I knocked back the exposure index by 1/3 of a stop, and I bumped up the developing time by half a minute. Granted, not a huge change, but that came out much better. That gave me my best results. These, I think, there's decent density. I think the density on these negatives is decent, and this as well. So this is shots I did with a model, and this is just some random shots with a 24mm lens out in the woods amongst some old ruined buildings and so forth. And I'd say the density on this set of negatives was okay. I think these are all right. The overall look of the stuff, I mean, it's not bad. It's not great. I just, but here's the thing. Here's the standard. What does this do that this doesn't. I mean, Foma 100, I've been shooting this stuff for years and years and years. It is my go-to general all-purpose, medium speed, although frankly I usually expose it at, shoot it at exposure index of 80. I find works best for Foma 100. But this stuff is just fantastic. I get great results. I love the grain structure. I love the tonality. And I just can't say that about the 200. I'm not seeing the same tonal range on the 200. The grain just doesn't, again, this is my own subjective opinion. It just doesn't appeal to me. I think this stuff is just, the Foma 100 is one of the most versatile general purpose black and white films. It just has a great look to it. Whereas, and it works with a bunch of different developers. And it's got a little more. I think it's got more latitude than the 200. So what does this do that the 100 doesn't? Nothing I can tell. I mean, put it this way: if I'm shooting at EI 160 in microfilm, using the recommended times from the massive development chart. I think the massive development chart recommended 12 to 13 minutes. So this is the high side of the recommendation for box speed, which I knocked back to 160. That suggests to me that the true box speed or the true speed of this film is closer to 125. Because generally microfilm will give you a roughly 1/3 bump in speed without any loss without a dramatic change in contrast. That's a general rule of thumb for microfilm. So my money says that this is closer to a 125 speed film. Again, this is again just my own opinion based on limited experience with half a dozen rolls. But if I were a betting man, that's what I'd bet on. So why would I need this when I've got a perfectly good film that I shoot at exposure index of 80, 2/3 of the stop difference, for general purpose work, which I absolutely love. Well, under what circumstances would I ditch this in favor of this? And there's just nothing comes to mind, nothing. I mean, if I want a 200 speed film with sort of a dark classic look to it, I'll use Foma 400, because I think Foma 400's true speed is 200. I'm absolutely convinced of that. I'm totally convinced that Foma 400's actual true speed is 200. And again, I did a separate video on Foma 400. This, I'm just not seeing it. I don't know. Here's a quote from Foma's website, which I just want to put in perspective, or at least give my opinion. Its wide exposure latitude allows exposures in the speed range from ISO 100 to 800 without change of development time. That comes straight from Foma Film Company's website, and I do love this. This is so I don't want to trash talk Foma. I really don't, because I think this is one of the greatest films, black and white films out there today. So I will simply say that this statement is certainly towards the 800 end, is inconsistent with my experience. If this were true, then I shouldn't be seeing thin negatives at the development times that I reviewed earlier. I'm just not seeing it. So, but then again, this is just my experimentation based on, 6 rolls. That's it. That's all I shot. 6 rolls, developed in 2 different developers, one of which is not even mentioned by Foma as a recommended developer for this emulsion, and the other I'm using at a dilution which is not recommended. So, maybe I'm just not developing correctly. That's entirely possible. If you use 200, like say in preference to either Foma 100 or 400, drop a note and let me know why. Seriously, I'm not being sarcastic here. I'm trying to figure out what is this good for, and maybe there's some other formula that is better for that's better for a better developer combination. Maybe I should be using microfilm in stock instead of 1 to 3. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I should be using D76. I don't know. But if you really like this stuff, I want to hear from the Foma 200 fans. If you're a fan of this stuff, let me know what are you doing to get the best results out of it, because I'm just not. It's not expensive. It's readily available. Sometimes it sells for less than Foma 100. And I'm like, well, it's always good to have a nice budget backup. So who uses this stuff and why? That's my question for the day. So if you'd like to contribute to the discussion, leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. And thank you for listening to me ramble on. And I hope you found this video either amusing or informative or entertaining or something like that. And if so, please do like, subscribe, and check out the links down below. Take care now. Bye-bye.